in TPS, we have billing set up in a way that we think makes the most sense. What do you want to bill? Who do you want to bill? And what do you want your invoice to say? Those are the three questions we need to answer. So, what do we want to bill? Let's imagine we want to bill all the unbilled WIP that's sitting here under Audio King's account. So I've clicked the three dots, I have my options here, and doing this for Audio King answers the who do we want to bill. So the unbilled WIP is the what, who is the Audio King, and we still have to figure out what we want our invoice to say. So if we want to bill all of a client's unbilled WIP, our best option is to choose Quick Bill. Now you'll notice when I click on Quick Bill, I get this pop-up, client has unwhipped time. So this is letting you know that you have unbilled WIP for this client. So like time entry is still sitting in the time status that you may or may not want to include in this billing cycle. So from here, you're given the opportunity to go ahead and continue to proceed to Quick Bill, which means you would not be including that time in this billing cycle, or you can click here and go to the client inquiry. You'll notice it brings you right to the time tab for Audio King. So I could, if I wanted to, go ahead and choose all these and change status to WIP and then go on with my billing. And that would include these time entries in this bill. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and imagine that all I want to do is bill what's already WIP'd. So I'll proceed to Quick Bill. So all that was just to show you, if you get that pop-up, not to be concerned about it. It's just TPS giving you a heads up like we like to do. So here on the Quick Bill screen for Client Audio King, you see you have the billing summary, the final bill total, sales tax, and you have all your fields down here to fill out. So you'll notice the final bill out is at $357.75. I can leave that alone and continue, or I can do a markup or a markdown. And you'll see that these two fields are connected. So if I did a markup of, let's just do $50, you'll notice that it automatically changes my final bill out amount. And if I had just come in here and changed it to $407.75, it would have shown the markup over here of $50, so they're tied together. If I had any taxes, they would show up in here. This is where my invoice code is and my invoice number. Right here you can see it's letting me know that my next code should be 51, so I'll go ahead and say yes and use this, or you can put in really whatever you want to. That just shows you that our invoice numbers continue on in sequence, unless you want to change them. I can change the date or the template if I want to, and then you'll notice this description field down here. You'll see this on all your billing screens, so Quick Bill, Detail Bill, and Progress Bill screens. Overall, it's for in-house purposes and gives your staff an opportunity to explain what exactly went on with that odd invoice or special invoice situation. This enhances clarity in client communication and AR statements and offers flexibility for staff to add descriptions during billing or later on the Invoices screen or in the client's inquiry under the AR or Invoices tab. Once you have all this sorted out, you just click Create Invoice. That brings you to the billing paragraph screen. So this is where you decide what you want the invoice to say. This is important because if we don't put some kind of wording on here, our clients will have no idea what they're being billed for. So we want to put something in here. And there are a few ways we can do this. We start out on the Descriptions tab. Here you'll see all the lines of WIP that you're billing them for, and we only have one right now. You can use the work code description, which is right here. By clicking this arrow, it would bring it down, and you'd have that paragraph on here to explain what's going on. You also see there's a description column right here, and there's nothing in here. This is for the description that's over on the time entry screen. You remember how you have the option to type in a description when entering time? Well, this is where you see that description. So this is why it's pretty important when you're over on the time entry screen. If you're entering time and you know there's wording that you'd like to put in there that would make sense later on the invoice, it's a good idea to put it in there. So later when you're doing the invoice like we are now, you would see that description in here and have that option as well. So in addition to the work code description and the time entry description, we also have our library of paragraphs. These are pre-written paragraphs you might be likely to use. So if you see one of these you want to apply to this invoice, you just click to bring it down. Maybe you just want to say, pay me. Bring that down here, and it comes down to the bottom. And you'll notice with any of these, you can actually click in here and add to it. Pay me. You know we talked about this, John. Just pay me. Obviously, you probably don't want that on your invoice. But you can see that you can type directly in here, which is kind of cool. You can add to it. So you have all these paragraphs here, and you'll see those over here on tools. You can set that up ahead of time right here where it says library paragraphs in your tools section. Then of course we have our past invoices. So invoices that you've done in the past, you also have that wording on here, and you can use any of those. So if you know there's something you said recently on an invoice that you'd like to use again, you'd find it in here. And with any of these, when you see this copy button here, what that means is if you wanted to just add it to this line, you would click copy and it brings it down here and adds it. So maybe if you just wanted to add a piece of this to one you already have down here, you can use that option there. And then the amount just brings the amount that was used here down here onto the amount line. So those are 3 of the ways that you can bring wording down. And then you can also just click to add new and type in one from scratch. Maybe, not kidding, just pay me. And then you have your wording down here. Now you see we have these amount fields down here. If you want the specific amount for each paragraph in here, so explaining what you're charging them for each of these, you can type that directly in here, or you can leave it as 0. It's important that these match up to what the total chargeable amount is in here. And this will actually count down for us the remaining. The $550 that we brought down from here kind of put us over. So let's go ahead, and I was just showing you that example. Let's put this back to 0. And you can see, so remaining, we have the $407.75. So for example, if you wanted to charge $100 for this one, you can see it walks us down $307, maybe $100 for this one, and the $207.75 left over, and that brings us to remaining 0. So we've equaled out to the chargeable amount. We have the amounts for each of these. We again have an option to change the template here if we want to. Again, you get that menu to change the template. Now it's always a good idea to create the document when you're doing this, to actually create the document in the system, which is what we have right here. So if you click on create document, you'll see that you're given options for PDF or Word. You can download the PDF to your computer or the Word, and then you have the option to upload. So if there was something you wanted to put directly on here, let's say that you downloaded the Word document and you had the Word document in here and there was something you wanted to put directly onto here that you wanted to change on the document itself, you can do that. You can make the changes on the Word document version. The PDF would be just for viewing or for saving on your computer. So if you made any changes to it, maybe you just wanted to change the color of the font or whatever you wanted to do, if you wanted to include a logo or something on that Word document, and you saved it, and you wanted to upload it back into TPS, you just click here where it says upload or update file, choose the file from your computer, and then you'd be updating it in the system. And that version will be saved in the system unless you click this button over here to recreate the document, which would then create the document again in the system and overwrite the one you had in there. Or if you did the same thing over in the print send batch tool, where it gives you the option to print in any case or create invoice. If you're creating the invoice anew, it basically overwrites what you had in here. So just keep that in mind. But once you have the invoice set up exactly how you want it, you have your who you want to bill, what you want to bill, and what you want your bill to say, then you can go ahead and click save. And that's how you create a quick bill in TPS Cloud Access. To send that out to your client, you could do it through the client portal, in the client properties, or here in our client portal section. Or if you want to send out invoices to a bunch of your clients at once, you can use the print send area, and there are videos in here that explain how to do that, but you would basically watch the video on the invoices tab. And that pretty much covers everything for Quick Bill. Thank you for watching.